Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast, the opposition show. Looking ahead to this week's game, of course, as Boro visit Vicarage Road in the Rob Edwards Derby, as we could now possibly call it. I'm delighted to be joined by Carl from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes Watford podcast to preview the game. So, Carl, thank you very much for joining me, first of all. And how are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Timekeeping's not obviously my strong point, as that's a private joke in house there. But no, very very good, mate. For a Watford supporter currently this season, I'm doing
Good,
all right.
good. Well, yeah, I was going to get into that because, from an outsider anyway, looking at Watford, it's been a fairly standard start to the season, maybe a little bit inconsistent. Currently 14th in the Championship, 4 wins, 3 draws, 5 defeats. But you've won your last 3 home games, I believe, and have had a pretty decent home record so far this season. So just talk to me about Watford's season so far, because as always, there's been ups, there's been downs, 2 different managers, the return of Javi
Yeah,
Gracia. So
yeah,
just talk to me about the season so far.
yeah. Well, you summed it up pretty well there. A mixed bag to say the least. New manager coming in, obviously in the close season. Um, Told that we were going to see this brilliant attacking football, on the front foot and so forth, and it never materialised. It never happened, and I think one of the biggest complaints for us over the last couple of seasons, especially, is what are we doing in terms of recruitment? The recruitment's poor. I mean, it's very poor in terms of our managers. We don't seem to get that right, but we do seem somehow to turn fairly unknown players into cash winners for us as a football club, and João Pedro, Richarlison, just to name two. But we we haven't seen that for a very long time, and I think that's been a bit of a frustration for the club. So we were heavily backed in terms of um, spending and bringing recruitment anyway, bringing players in, and we've again brought a few unknowns. Not sure what's gonna come of them, but we were very very confident at the start of the season. Unfortunately, as I say, the football that we were promised never materialised. It never happened, and we find ourselves going back to a manager that was very successful at Watford. He had a great time. Probably cut a bit short for me. Um, we never really recovered after that FA Cup final, and a little bit before that, because his form, the form of the team was pretty upside down. But it just felt that it was a bit rushed, that decision, considering what he'd done. 11th in the Premier League, comfortable, FA Cup final, and it was all going strong. And yeah, as you say, Javi Gracia has returned, and very quickly we've seen a change going forward. We look like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. At the back defensively, we look like the dog and doublet, the Sunday League pub side. We really are. We really are a mixed bag there, and that's something that's really got to change quickly if we stand any chance of competing with teams like Middlesbrough and so forth. And we got caught out very recently at Coventry in that fashion. So yeah, a completely bonkers season at Watford, which is completely normal for us Watford supporters.
Yeah, just any old season at Watford, it seems. We had an eye on the.
Just normal stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, we had an eye on the Coventry game at the weekend because, of course, at the minute we're sort of watching everything they do a little bit in fear, to be honest. And yeah, from what I
Mm,
from what I gathered, Watford sounded like they played quite well against Coventry. Could have probably been up in that game, but it was the defensive issues that obviously led to Coventry inevitably getting the goals that they scored and running away with the game. Essentially, you talked of the
yeah.
improvements and changes that Javi Gracia has made to the club. As it gave you guys a bit of belief, a bit of optimism? What's the feeling like around Watford at the minute? Because I think with a lot of teams, we're in that bracket. A lot of, I guess, non-parachute teams. Looking at this
Mm.
season, there's an opportunity there for a lot of us, isn't there? So, what's the feeling like amongst Watford fans right now?
Yeah, it's gone down well. It's a positive step for us. I think it's fair to say that going back a second time with a manager generally doesn't work. I think in Watford's case, if we're being serious and honest with each other, it doesn't matter because we could bring a manager in that you've never heard of, or somebody that's been in the Championship before, and we could get promoted, relegated, whatever, and we'd still sack him at the end of the season. Uh, so from that point of view, we're happy that Javi's back. He brings a style of football that I think we've catered for. We've brought in a lot of what I would call sort of, I don't like using the word wingers, stroke, number nines, that will fit in nicely. We've still got players like Chet Fadadze, who had a fantastic season last season before he got injured, to come back in. So we're actually at a point where we've probably got too much of a similar player. Quadro Bar is a player that really has kicked on, but this season hasn't really done much. So yeah, I think overall we're quietly confident that he'll get something out of those players. But it's still early days, and I think the Middlesbrough game for us comes round a little bit too soon before I sit here going, well, it's going to be a really tough day out for Middlesbrough. I think it's more about trying to find his best midfield, because the midfield is letting him down a little bit. We've got Musa Sissoko, who I've seen cruise ships turn quicker than Musa, but
He's getting on now, right?
he's a player
It,
that brings a lot of. He is getting on,
yeah.
yeah, but he's a player that brings a lot of experience. He's won World Cups and so forth. So he's a player I would certainly keep in the squad. Don't get me wrong, but starting week in and week out, and especially the Championship, 3 game weeks this week, for instance. That's not for him. So I think he's really got to figure out that centre of midfield out quickly. And attacking wise, going forward, we've got plenty there. It's just he's got to sort out the defence, and Musa Sissoko stroke Kiembe, who's another one that he seems to be um, going with when we've got probably players that could come in and do a better job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to chat to you about a couple of individuals. Are there any other specific individual players that Borough should be worried about? I looked at the numbers, and is it Imran Louser? He looks like he's had quite a good season so far in terms of
Yeah.
goal contributions. Is it more the top of the pitch Borough should be worried about? And are there any individuals at the top of the pitch that could really hurt us?
Yeah, there's two. There's Imran Loser that you've just mentioned there, who is a Premier League player. I'm very sure that he'll be out in January.
Oh,
I think he is playing probably the best football that he's played at the club for a very, very long time. He went out on loan twice because he just couldn't get in the side, and we lost him. We bought him when we were in the Premier League, and he really did dip off. But yeah, we've got him back, and he is really the engine room of that midfield. We'll probably tuck in behind Kieran Gard, our number 9, big Danish centre forward. So he'll probably sit in there. But the other player apart from Barr, but I'm led to believe, and I got told today, this could be breaking news for all
mhm.
we know, that Barr will be out. He won't actually feature. He picked up a knock against Coventry, so they don't think he'll start. But we've got a young lad that an Australian, Imran Kunda, that we signed from Bayern Munich's B side, who's come in and scored a couple of like worldies free kicks,
I
but
remember at the start of the
a
season.
player
Yeah.
that's got bags of pace. Yeah, he scored a couple now, but yeah, bags of pace, loads in his arsenal to go about and cause any team problems. The only downside for me with him is that he tends to go a little bit Lionel Messi and try and beat everyone on the pitch to score a wonderful goal, where all he needs to do is play a simple pass. So he can be a bit of a frustrating figure, but certainly one to watch out for. Definitely dangerous. Centre, yeah, you haven't got to really worry about anyone else. To be fair,
So it's all at the top of the pitch. I mean, I was gonna ask you about any potential weaknesses within the Watford side. I'm guessing it's defensively right now? Are there any areas within the team, whether it be injuries? I know there's a suspension as well. One of your centre halves got sent off. Was it a Banquo got sent off against
Yeah, the
Coventry?
Banquet. Yeah,
So, are there any weaknesses
yeah.
that Boro could exploit that maybe worry you ahead of the game?
I think, yeah, I think our right back Ngakia has done really well. He's probably one that does do very well. Issue is he tends to go forward a lot, doesn't, and leaves gaps behind. I think one of the Boller. I think he played for you guys for a
Yeah,
period of
yeah, Mark
time.
Bowler. Yeah.
Um, left sided player, but again he's one that I've seen him a few times now. He's not really settled for me.
Okay.
But I've seen enough of him to going forward. I've seen enough of him, but defensively, there's certain bits that worry me. One lad that we do have at the back, and he's the local lad to Middlesbrough, Matty Pollock. He future captain for me. He's a proper old school defender. Does the basics very well, but unfortunately, in this modern world, we try and play from the back. You know, short passes from the goalkeeper and pass it up the pitch. That is not Matty Pollock's style of play. So I think if it's a high press from Middlesbrough, that will cause us problems. But if I know Rob Edwards as I think I do, he'll go very direct into the channels. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting matchup to see what happens.
Yeah, how has Gracia got you set up then? Is it with wing backs? Has he got a set system at the moment that he's using, or is he still trying to figure out the best formation, or is there a clear setup at the moment?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there is. It's generally free at the back, but that can change. It's like a. I have seen a 3-5-2 from him previously on his previous reign. Haven't seen that yet. He tends to play with one up front, which is what is causing a few issues because Imran Kunda that I mentioned, he's got fantastic pace. Don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be on the wing. He should definitely be tucked in behind our number 9, because I think he's more effective driving forward and getting into the box and causing problems. Where he's on the wing, it's always delivery. And I haven't seen Kieran God really win a header since he's been in a Watford shirt, despite his height and stature. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, there isn't really a set. Like I couldn't really sit here now and go, this is going to be the formation. It's all a little bit in the air at the moment.
Yeah, well, we could say the same, to be fair, because we're trying to unlock the best formation at the minute to get the best out of our attacking players. Because defensively, we've probably been the best team in the league, but going forward, we're having
Mm.
to take the very few chances we're creating in games. Of late, we've created a few more, but we've not taken them. But we started with a back three, moved to a 4 recently. Looked like it was a little bit better, but then we were quite poor against Wrexham. Didn't really hurt them at all for large parts of that game. So we don't even know what to expect. It seems like Rob Edwards at the minute is just,
What to expect?
yeah, we don't know our best 11. I don't think Edwards does, especially up top of the pitch. We don't know what combination of players he's going to go with, whether it's a 4-2-3-1 or a 3-4-2-1. We have no idea what to even expect when we see our lineup drop at the weekend. So it's going to be interesting because Watford seem like a very good side going forward, quite open at the back. Boro are the opposite, extremely solid at the back, a little bit blunt at the front. I don't know whether that'll cancel itself out or it'll be a.
It's got a nil written all
Maybe
over
it
it.
does. Maybe it does. We'll get to the predictions a little bit shortly. Now, when we chatted before we come on, Carl did say for me to not ask him about Rob Edwards. I saw that as an open challenge to do exactly that. Um, I guess it's the elephant in the room. And with Rob Edwards, when he was coming to the club, we got a good idea of what most fans from his previous clubs thought of him. Of course, he had the successful spell at Forest Green. He had the successful spell at Luton that then obviously went massively downhill towards the end. People sometimes forget there was the Watford spell in the middle, sandwiched in the middle. And was it
Mm.
what, 10 league games and a cup game? Was it 11 competitive games?
Yeah, 11. 11 games in total.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have a good idea about what the fans of Forest Green and Luton think of him, one way or the other. I don't think we quite know what Watford fans think of him. Now, of course, he did leave to go to Luton and was successful there, which, is a story in itself. But yeah, I'd be very intrigued to hear your thoughts on Rob Edwards and what do you reckon, I guess, the overall thought of the Watford fan base is on Rob Edwards and what reception he might get returning to the Vic this weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Honestly and truthfully, and I do mean this, Rob Edwards didn't get a fair crack at the whip at Watford. 11 games is no way to judge somebody on their their role, especially in football. Nowadays, unfortunately, culture wise at Watford, that is or has been the norm, on than one occasion. So it's difficult. The overriding feeling that I got from Rob Edwards, and you said it yourself there just a second ago, he never really settled in a formation and also a starting 11 that he was happy with. There was so many changes, and he was playing, square pegs in round holes a lot of the times. Left, and that wasn't all his fault because, as I said at the start of this, we've been asking for a couple of seasons to be backed in the transfer market by the ownership, and Rob certainly wasn't. He was let down there. So I felt for him when he went, but there was a bit of me that kind of looked at it and was like, I never saw anything tactically that I went, this lad's or this guy's got a massive future in football or whatever, and that's of no disrespect to him. Obviously, he then goes on to Luton, gets them into the Premier League and gets them relegated twice, which is very important to mention. I my feeling on him is that there's no plan B. He plays a certain way, and that's it. I've not seen, and even at Luton, I never saw anything where he was changing things up or anything like that. So it's a huge job for him at
Yeah.
Middlesbrough. I think this is for me the real make or break for him. Can he? And I'll explain this why I believe this. Can he get a club that is a Premier League side in terms of Middlesbrough, what they are and so forth? Can he get a sleeping giant back into the Premier League where they should be? That's the question for me. I I have my own feelings on it, honestly and truthfully, and the reason for that is he took a Luton side under whose name I escaped, the
Nathan Jones?
Welsh lad. Can't remember his name. That's him. How could I
Yeah.
forget? Nathan Jones. Yeah, he took Nathan Jones's Luton because Nathan Jones thought he was better than he was and left. He took that side and didn't change anything tactically. Nothing. Didn't do a single thing. He coached the side, and I think he's a very very good coach. And he got them where Nathan Jones probably would have got them. Um, Following season, they had a good bash at it, the size of the club and so forth, but he ran out of ideas. And then they went to the championship, and then you saw Rob Edwards really fall apart and not have a clue what to do. And I guess my only fear for Middlesbrough is if you have a couple of bad results and you get into a bit of a rot, what will he do to change things up? That will make or break it for me if he is a decent manager or the next big thing that people are sort of people were comparing him to Eddie Howe and stuff like that, and I'm sorry, Forest Green that you mentioned there. I've got to mention that if you look back when they won the league, they were so many points clear towards the end of the league. I think he lost 11 games on the bounce, and they just crept over the line at
I
Forest
didn't
Green.
know that.
That was one thing that was one thing we were really concerned about when he came into the club, because it just seemed that they'd done a really great job getting where they were, but he then lost it, and it was touch and go towards the end. So we'll see. Look, I generally hope he does well. I've got nothing against him. The fact he got Luton relegated twice for me means he's a hero of mine. He'll get a I would say a very sarcastic reception at Watford, because we all believe that he was treated unfairly at the club, but because of the connection to Luton, unfortunately, it's not going to be a nice day for him.
It's interesting. It's really interesting actually, because we heard a lot of similar skepticisms around him when he joined Borough. But I agree completely. I think to take the Borough job, given the pressure and where we were, and what we wanted, where we want to be,
Mm,
it was a huge gamble for him to take a job as big as this, off the back of what happened at Luton's. But so far, I think up until literally the game just gone at Wrexham, that was the first time we've looked at his team sheet and went, he's got that wrong. Everything else he's touched so far
yeah,
has turned to gold pretty much. And we've almost at times this season thought, this guy can literally not do anything wrong. Everything he says, every change he makes, every start he makes, everything's perfect. Obviously, there is that little thing in the back of our heads, what happens when we do enter a lull in form. So far, when we've lost, we've bounced back relatively well. Um, but there are still obviously question marks. But I think so far, I mean, Borough are second in the Championship. There wasn't any. I don't think
yeah,
any
yeah,
Borough fans who at all expected this at this point in the season. And we don't know how much of it's from Edwards. Obviously, he's got Adi Viviash behind him and Harry Watling. I think that they play a huge, huge part as well in what we do within games, because we have actually seen us change systems numerous times in games. Some games we've played two or three different formations. So yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on at Borough, and if he can truly prove that he can take a club, I guess, from start to finish, to success.
yeah.
I
That's it.
guess to finish, it's time to put our neck on the line a little bit and talk of predictions. So, how are you feeling? Because I guess, I mean, as I said, 3 home wins in a row, is it now for Watford? So the feeling around Vicarage Road must be pretty positive whenever a team comes to town. So you feeling
Yeah,
confident?
yeah. I think the West Brom result fairly recently was a good one. We went 1-0 down, and turned that to a 2-1 win, and they're up there. What, they fifth, sixth, something like that. So yeah, Vicarage Road is, look, any team that's going to do anything in this league is going to have a decent home form.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're going to be competing this season. Don't get me wrong, but you want to make your home a tough place to play football, and we haven't over the last couple of seasons. So it's good to see. I think it's going to be a tight game. I really do. I think there's not going to be a lot in it, and it could go either way. Look, I'm really stuck in my heart versus my head in this one, because so yeah. So with that in mind, I'm probably going to sit on the fence and get splinters and go for a cheeky 1-1, which I would be over the moon about.
I'm going to snap on that. I said 1-1 to. I think it's, as I say, Borough's performances of late haven't been the best, and we're trying to unlock what we want to do at the top of the pitch, trying to find the right formula. So I think as well it'll be a tight game. Every Borough game this season, I think, barring when we won it, was it Millwall? I think they've all been 1 goal margins. They've all been very tight games. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't expect this to be any different. But I just look at your home form, and I just never liked going to Vicarage Road. I remember last season we went there. I was on holiday at the time, but I remember checking the scores and I was like, oh my God, we're 1-0 up. This is fantastic. And then within 15 minutes in the end of the second half, we were 2-1 down. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And that,
yeah.
that can happen.
I remember that game. It was a good game.
Yeah, that can happen
Yeah.
at the Vic. So I'm going to go one each as well. And we'll see if it does drop either way for a win for either side. As always, put your your predictions in the comments section below. We read out the names of anyone who gets their predictions right. And last week, we had 3 viewers who got their predictions right for the Wrexham game. Colin, Michael, and Paul predicted the correct result. So well played to each of you. But that is it for the opposition show. Carl, a huge thank you for jumping on and joining me. And well, other than
No
other
problem.
than Saturday, of course, we wish Watford all the best this season. Hopefully, a nice, steady, stable season where it can maybe end in success. It is a very open league this year, so who
Just
knows?
Who knows? Who knows? It'd just be nice to keep a manager. That'd
Yeah,
be lovely.
well, we'll see. We'll see if that's what happens. But yeah, huge thank you for joining me. We will put all the links to Carl's podcast. Do not scratch your eyes in the description, so you can go and check out all the great work he does over there. But until next time, if you have enjoyed the video and the podcast, do leave a like on this video and subscribe to the Boro Breakdown for much more. We will be back at the weekend, of course, to review the game at Watford. But until then, take care and up the Boro Breakdown.